A bargain's only a bargain if what you're buying is useful. Today we're going to take a look at a Wen 6559 6-inch jointer. It's $249 at Home Depot. Now, I did not buy this. It was sent to me from Wen to review, but they're not a sponsor of my channel. But I'm a member of a program that once in a while I get something to review from Home Depot. So, let's take a look at what's in the box. Here. All right. Got the manual. Get your standard push stick. Fence. Jointer. This is for your dust collection. Push pad. This is to attach the fence. You've got a knob and an Allen wrench. And that's also part of the fence attachment. That's it. Let's start putting it together. All right, the first step, this is the back of the unit. I already wiped off the thin layer of oil that was on there. And on the bed, I wiped it down with acetone to get all the oil off, because then I'm going to wax it before I use it. First step was to slide this bracket onto the fence. And there's 4 nuts on the other side. They just slide into the T-track, and that's step 1. The next step is to mount the sliding bracket to the back of the jointer. And you do that by removing these 2 screws. Okay, next we have the lock handle. Okay, I had to slide the fence up in the bracket before it'll sit. It was actually hitting the bed. Okay. These are adjustable. You pull up, and then you could freely turn it, and then push it down, and then you can actually do that. So that's what I had to do here. So now it's loose. And it's up what feels like a good position. And that's basically it. If you're going to use your own dust collection, there's a 2.5-inch port over here that you can put a hose on. That's what I will do. And if not, oh, that what I thought was the cover is the bag. It has a bag that comes with this. This goes inside the bag. This goes on the port. If you have a Phillips head. And then you can put the bag on and it'll collect your shavings. That's all there is to assembling it. One concern I have, I don't know if you're like me, if you're getting something and I get excited about it, I'll download the manual before I even see the tool. So to adjust the bed of the planer, let's turn it around. to adjust this part of the bed to make sure it's square and coplanar with this is a really difficult thing. Wen tells you to turn the planer upside down, the jointer upside down, and there's 4 screws that lock this in place, and then there's 4 more Allen screws that let you adjust it. Well, how are you going to adjust it when it's upside down? It makes no sense. So it seems to me that if this is not coplanar with this, I'm going to have to support this so I could get up underneath while the jointer is in this kind of position. So let's just hope that it's coplanar. Let's check the fence. I got my chinois square. Not quite. Pretty close. Yeah, it's hitting on the bottom, but not on the top. So the fence needs to go this way a little bit. Same thing down there. So to adjust that, there's some, it looks like 10 millimeters. Yep. 10 millimeter bolt with a lock nut. And if I back this up a little bit, loosen that. A little bit more. That's pretty damn good right there. Now, I don't think I'm going to do chamfers and miters on this, although you can. Yeah, I like that. So, I feel that once I get it in 90 degrees, then I'm good. Probably leave it there. I'll show you the bag for the chipping is like huge. Look at the size of this thing. And you open up, this side has a zipper, you slide the spring down, and the spring helps the bag grab onto the port. So I don't see myself using this. All right, let's see if this is coplanar. I don't have a precision straight edge, but I do have an Empire digital level. And it's supposed to have a very, very accurate base plate on it. So we're going to use that. And see what we're going to see. So I've not touched the adjustment. It's at 0. So it's at the point where it doesn't cut at all. The blade, by the way, is in a not in an up position, it's off center. This has 2 blades. Well, it sure looks good to me. All right, so the next step is for me to wax the bed and see how it cuts. All right, line number 1. And I quote, "A standard dust collection hose can be attached to the 2.5-inch diameter dust port underneath the outfeed table. The jointer will perform properly at all depth of cut up to 1/8 of an inch when using a dust collection system. Well, as you see, this is a standard 2.5 inch chop back type hose, and it does not fit onto the dust collection port. It's exactly the same size. So like I've done on some other equipment, I use a 2 inch by 2 inch, we used to call it a hubless coupling. It's a flexible coupling. And that's how I attach my hose to, for example, my rigid oscillating sander. So it's good to have some of those handy. So that's what you need. What I do is I tighten it on to the tool, and then I snug this down just so this will fit in and out without having to use a tool. So if it loosens up over time, I can just tighten it a little bit, but it's basically a friction fit. Right. I did not look at the cutting heads. Let's just assume that those are correct. Here's a piece of mahogany that's pretty rough. And let's see if I can screw up a face on an edge and make this good. Let's pick the bad side. This is a real funky side here. Let's see if we can make that work. Oh, and if you've seen my other videos, especially the one on load sensing circuits, let me see if that's in the view. Yeah, you can see I've got two plugs here. This is the standard wall plug. This has a load sensing circuit in it and is plugged into this to get power. When a power tool is plugged into this box, it sends a signal through a low voltage cable. There's a 12-volt wire here that goes up over to my shop vac, hits a relay, and the shop vac turns on. And when I turn off the equipment, it stays on for a couple seconds, and then it turns off the shop vac. So I've got all my power equipment set up that way. All right, I've got 2 push pads. I'm not going to use the push stick. I think that's stupid. This is the one that came with the Wen. This came with my Incra router. And let's make it happen. Okay, that was a trial. I didn't set the depth of cut. So I'm going to set it to less than a 32nd, just as the first test cut. Very little. Took off a little bit in the center. Okay, so I'm at 1/32. That's a nice surface. I got one spot here, I think, where I stopped, where my motion stopped. It's just a little scratch in it. Let's see what it's looking like. Well, you probably can't tell, but you'll take my word for it. That's nice and flat. All right, let's do an edge and then we'll see if we have 90 degrees. By the way, this is my first jointer. I've never had one before, and I've never used one. Pretty nice. Let me grab a square. What I did was I first jointed the face, and then I put the face up against the fence and jointed the edge. And if the jointer's doing what it's supposed to do, I should have a perfect 90 degrees. And I don't know what you're seeing, but from my perspective, it'd be even easier without the glasses. From my perspective, that is perfect. Well, so my conclusion is that the Wen jointer does what it's supposed to do. By the way, I don't have a stand for it yet. This is not going to be my permanent setup. If you look over here, I made this stand for my planer. It's got two handles. It works like a wheelbarrow. You lift up, move it where you want, set it down, and it's stationary. I may do something like that for the jointer. But anyway, my point is, it looks like it does what it's supposed to do. I'll continue using it throughout the summer, and in a couple months I'll do a follow-up and see if it's still working well. So that's my unboxing and review. Thanks for watching.